We're just out here, supporting basically our God-given right to own and possess firearms.
Everybody can exhibit and have their freedom of speech that they want. The problem is when speech becomes intimidating.
They say it's their God-given right, but the growing open carry movement is giving some people, and even the National Rifle Association, the heebie-jeebies. We've been reporting on the Texas open carry folks for months. You've seen the pictures and videos of them walking around restaurants and stores and parking lots, even Little League games with their long guns on full display and scaring the Sam Hill out of non-gun owners. A growing number of businesses are telling the gun toters to leave the firearms outside. The latest, Sonic and Chili's told the groups no weapons please after weekend protest near Dallas. Now the NRA is finally speaking up and in a lengthy statement called on the open carriers to cut it out, saying, quote, "It is such a rare sight to see someone sidle up next to you in the line for lunch with a 7.62 rifle slung across his chest. Let's not mince words. Not only is it rare, it's downright weird." That's the emphasis from the NRA. It can be downright scary. Emphasis also from the NRA. It makes folks who might normally be perfectly open-minded about firearms feel uncomfortable and question the motives of pro-gun advocates. More to the point, it's just not neighborly. But the Open Carry Texas people say it's not neighborly to criticize your compatriots. A statement posted on the Open Carry Texas Facebook page and reported by Talking Points Memo reads, quote, "The more the NRA continues to divide its members by attacking some aspects of gun rights instead of supporting all gun rights, the more support it will lose." Tav Henderson is Communications Director for Open Carry Texas. So, Tav, what would be your argument against what the NRA has said? Because it is unusual to be standing in line, let's say at the coffee shop, and have 1, 2, or 100 people walk up behind you all with guns strapped to their backs. That is unusual, right? And you understand that that frightens people.
Well, to explain here, what a lot of people do not understand is there are already 44 states that allow open carry handgun. Texas, unfortunately, is not one of those. That's what we're trying to achieve. As the law is written right now, we're only permitted to open carry our long guns and pre-1899 black powder pistols. So the reason for this is because, and the reason for us actually walking with them is because we have no other option.
Well, sir, if that's what you're saying it is, and you know that in your own mind, and then you and your group say that to each other. But if I'm at, the Quiznos with my kids and having a meal, and I'm not read up on your Facebook page, or I'm not a member of your circle of friends, and I don't know you and haven't talked to you, all I see is a bunch of guys walking in with big, huge guns strapped to them. Do you understand that that scares people?
Well, we have to understand in the past what we actually have done. We are actually invited into these establishments by the management or ownership.
That's not what these guys are saying. These restaurants are saying they don't want you doing this because it scares you. I still need you to answer that fundamental question. Do you understand that it scares people to see a bunch of guys with huge guns walking in when you are sitting there unawares with your kids?
Okay, the first point is we have a totally different policy now, so we're actually kind of digging up the past here. We actually have a policy. I understand where the NRA is coming from in their statement, but we actually do. We actually got together 4 major open carry organizations in Texas: Open Carry Texas, Texas Carry, Come and Take It America, and Gun Rights Across America. We all came together as leadership, and we put our heads together and came up with a new plan, which was to not bring long arms into restaurants where we had not been previously invited, or actually invited by the ownership. And so we totally went a new direction in that regard.
Well, let me ask you, does that apply to Home Depot? Because one of the offshoots of your organization's Open Carry Tarrant County was just this Saturday, and I believe about 150 people showed up in the parking lot, which I'll tell you would have scared me to death if I'd pulled up to that Home Depot and saw that many armed people in the parking lot. Do you condone that?
Okay, first and foremost, Open Carry Tarrant County and Open Carry Texas are not affiliated. We are not the same organization. We are entirely separate.
But do you condone what they did? Do you think that was a good idea to do that just this Saturday?
No, they were outside as far as I know. And
right, but it's still frightening. Do you think it was a good idea?
I don't know what their arrangement was with management, so I can't speak on their behalf.
But I'm asking you to speak not as somebody who is an aficionado of guns, but just as an ordinary guy. If you were, let's say, in a movie theater, given what happened in Aurora, given that my kids still don't want to sit near the door when we go to the movies, and we just went to one this weekend because that shook them so much when that shooting took place, given that you've had a mass shooting in a theater, do you think it would scare people in a movie theater if you walked into a movie theater with your long gun exposed?
Well, I'm not aware of any group that's ever walked into a movie theater.
I'm asking you,
so
sir, do you think it would scare people? It's funny that I can't get you to answer a very simple question of, do you think it scares people to see, not let alone one armed person, but a bunch of armed people in this day and age when we have so many mass shootings? Do you think it scares people?
Well, I think it has the potential to do anything, to have all kinds of emotions.
But does it scare people? Just a simple
yes, it
question.
could potentially have. Yes, it potentially could have a large range of emotions.
Okay, name some of the emotions. Name some of the emotions you think it could elicit.
Well, I mean, most of the emotions we get is actually support and people walking up to us, whether it's outside on the sidewalk, on the street, or if we went in the past when we actually did restaurants. We don't do restaurants anymore, but in the past when we didn't have any terror, we didn't have any fright. All we had was really interested people wanted to know, hey, why don't you guys open carry handguns? Isn't that rifle overkill? And we get to explain to them, it's really a strange law, but we can't open carry our Glocks.
Well, then if people were so into it, and if people were digging it, and everybody was so excited to see you and thought it was awesome, then why have 7 different restaurant chains said, please don't come back? Obviously, people weren't excited to see it. Maybe they didn't tell you, but maybe they didn't tell your group because they were afraid of people with guns, so they told management. 7 restaurant chains have said, don't do this anymore. We don't want you here.
Well, it's because of a concerted effort by a group that is backed by Michael Bloomberg. It's an anti-gun group, gun control group, and they have started trolling, it's a word, coming to our pages, and they're seeing where we've been, and they turn around and then start petition drives and get people who are not even in our state to sign these petitions and say they won't come to that restaurant if they see our members inside there.
Because people in the restaurants, I'm surprised that you don't realize that people in these restaurants sitting there with their kids are afraid of a big group of people with guns. That's a pretty simple concept. Talking about trolling, I don't know if you can see the video. I would love to go back and re-rack the video of some of your open carry compatriots following a gentleman who is actually a Marine veteran, following him down the street with guns strapped to them, videotaping him and then videotaping his license plate. We've had issues where open carry members have given out the personal information of people who dared to call 911 because they were afraid. Do you think following someone down the street with a gun, videotaping their license plate, we've had incidents of people having their personal information given out by you. Do you think these are good ideas? Is that a good idea?
No, actually, I can explain. On the one with the gentleman being followed, the Marine, that wasn't open carry Texas at all.
I'm just asking if you think it was a good idea. I'm just asking if you think that was a good idea.
I've actually been very vocal with this on our own page that I do not think that was a wise decision. I mean, yes, I understand people's point of view that there was more that happened prior to shooting, but as I explained to the people, the best way to react to anyone being hostile towards you is just to turn the other cheek and give them a smile.
But turn the other cheek and give them a smile when they're armed. And I'm going to ask you one more time, so I want to give you one more opportunity, because I think this is a fairly common sense and innocuous question. Do you think that in an age when there have been mass shootings, when people have shown up in a school or shown up on a street corner and blown people away and massacred people, do you think ordinary non-gun owning civilians are afraid of a group of people who are armed?
Are you asking if the average person is afraid?
Yeah. Would that elicit fear?
If you ask the average person, I'd say no, because we actually interact with them every single weekend, and we don't get the fear factor. At least not in the state of Texas. I can't speak for people in other states how they feel about open carry of long arms. We haven't had quite the same pushback within the state of Texas. Most of our pushback has come from other states, actually.
And 7 restaurant chains, and trust me, I would be afraid. So you can just chalk that up as one person who's told you I would be terrified. But I appreciate you coming on, sir. Todd Henderson, thanks for sharing your point of view. We'll be right back.
Thanks for having me.